Do you know the On The Run app, the OTR app?
The one that you've told me about 300 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know about that app?
You've told me about it literally 300 times.
Why have I told you about it?
Because it's so good. You don't have to get out of your car.
If you live in Adelaide and you don't have the OTR app, you're missing out.
Why?
Because you don't have to go in anymore. You don't have to do it anymore. You don't have to speak to people anymore.
Can we talk about this?
Yeah.
What about the art of conversation?
What, the art of conversation with the cashier at OTR?
Yes.
No one needs to be having any art of conversations with the cashier at OTR.
Oh, that's nice people.
I know, yeah, I'm sure they're nice. I think that we're going to have a beautiful conversation with them.
You could have a conversation with anyone.
What number? Number 7, mate.
That'll be $3,000.
Number 7. That'll be $450. Thanks, mate. On card, tap away. That's the conversation you're getting at OTR.
Yeah, that's true.
The Shahins are going to come after us.
The what?
The Shahins.
What the fuck is a Shahin?
They own OTR. Karina, get with it.
How do
Are you
you
even
know that?
from Adelaide?
How do you know that?
You're kidding me.
No, seriously, how do you know that?
Because the Shahins own half of Adelaide.
Shahins?
Yeah.
Is this real?
This is embarrassing.
Are you fucking with me right now? The Shahins. I'm serious. How do you know this?
Who doesn't know this?
Me?
Yeah. It says a lot about
Who does know
you.
this? Who the fuck is this? Not general knowledge to know who owns half of Adelaide.
Well, because they're everywhere, and if you're a curious Adelaide resident, you might go, who owns OTR? Oh, interesting. It's a family in Adelaide.
And let me just Google that, please. The Shahins.
Yeah, they sold it, but they own it.
Shahins.
Type in Shahin Adelaide. They're the richest people in Adelaide. Not your fitness guru fucking morons. I'm kidding. No, that can't go. They're like old money.
$1 billion payday as Shahin family sells OTR.
We live and we learn, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow,
We live and we learn.
I did not know that. Fun fact of the day.
Yeah, and they go like they love cars and stuff. They're always driving like Lamborghinis.
Well, if I had
in the city.
$1.25 billion, I'd probably be
They
driving
are,
a Lamborghini.
they're so rich. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah, they're an interesting family. Australia's going cashless within 5 years, reports 9 News.
How do you feel about that?
I don't care
Because
at all. My
when
business does not include cash at all. I never get paid cash.
If anyone wants to pay me cash, still feel free. But
ATO chaser. Get after it.
no, like I must admit, I don't pay cash for anything anymore.
I never have cash.
Although when people pay me cash, occasionally,
What are you getting paid cash for? ATO,
do
isn't it?
Italian weddings. But if I have cash, I feel like I spend it way easier because I feel like it's free.
You feel like it? That's girl math shit right there.
Yeah, no, but it's just
You
dead.
feel like it's
if I
free.
have $100 in my purse or $100 on a bank card,
It can just, it doesn't exist.
I don't feel guilty for spending it at all, and I'll just go nuts.
Do you feel like if it's not in your bank account, it doesn't exist? So when you've got it, you're like, let's go spend it?
Because do you know what it is? It's so dumb because nobody's checking my bank accounts. I don't have to answer to anybody. But like, if I spend cash, I'm like, oh, no one's going to know that I bought this.
It's
Like,
maybe why you're poor. Maybe someone should check in on your account.
yeah, exactly. Because I got no one to answer to but myself. But it's true. If I've got cash in my purse, I don't care. Like, it's
spend that.
actually fun.
Mm.
So maybe what I need to do is withdraw cash more and put it in my purse. So it's technically the same thing. But when I pay for stuff, I don't feel bad. But when I see it coming out of my bank account and the bank account goes down, I feel guilty.
But if you take the cash out, the bank account goes down.
Yeah. But
Same shit. It's the same shit.
here's a question for you.
Hit me.
Can you please name one thing about me that annoys you the most?
Um,
Oh, wow. Think about it.
there's too many. I gotta categorize it.
Give me your top two.
I think what makes me annoyed about you?
No boundaries. Go.
Okay, let's do this
Do
seriously.
it. Go hard. I won't
All right.
get offended.
What annoys me about you? And this might be accurate, might not be accurate.
That's fine.
You tell me. We'll debate it.
Okay.
Is I feel like life doesn't have to be as frantic, but you're frantic.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I go, in perspective, it's not that crazy. But the chaos within you is real. I understand that.
But the chaos is not just within me. The chaos is around me.
Right, but it can be it can be consolidated.
Agree. I could get more organised, but in saying that, were you on the phone to me the other day? Did you see my life? That was actual chaos.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people's lives are like that.
I agree.
Yeah. But not as frantic as yours. You're frantic about it.
Because I don't enjoy it.
Right.
I don't want to be chaos. I want to breathe.
Anything that I don't like in my life, if I come across something in my life that makes it a little bit difficult, I will analyze the shit out of it and go, how do we never run into this again?
Can you please fix that for me then?
I feel like part of my friendship is
Absolutely.
helping.
Of course it is.
Helping your chaos.
It is. Very much so.
And we're slowly getting there.
Yeah, but this is the thing. There's a lot of things that, and I'm not making excuses at all, because trust me, I've sat here so many times. I'm generally in the point of life where I'm like, I don't want chaos. I want to be calm. But there are so many things that I'm trying to figure out how to control better that I don't know how to change it. And I guess that's why I feel like I'm in a bit of a rut.
And I think whenever you say that, I always respond, write it down.
Yeah, which I do.
Then what happens?
Fix it. I look at it. I'm like, I still don't know the answer.
Yeah, it didn't get fixed.
Fucking hell.
And then you throw it in the bin. It's chaos. The kids have got the dog's got it.
The dog ate it.
Fucking hell.
I would fucking love for you to switch places with me one day.
I'm not saying that.
No, but I'm dead serious.
I'm not saying that I would do.
Only because I don't know how to explain it.
Right. Let's try.
Yeah.
What are those factors you're talking about? What are the next ones? I know. Yeah. What are they? No, because I feel like you've got some things where it's like a relationships with people. You've got some terrible relationships, man. No, you do. They're not good. They're not good.
Yeah, but
That's real.
yeah, it is.
Yeah. And see, I'm a bit different to you. If I have relationships in my life that aren't going to plan or aren't serving me in a way that it feels mutual, get out.
But the ones that you're referring to, I cannot.
No. Everyone can.
Well,
you choose not to. And I'm not saying it's a bad. I'm not saying you're making the wrong decision.
No.
You're not making the wrong. You got to make the decision that's right for you. I'm just saying, me personally, I've had similar things, and those people are no longer in my life.
Yeah, look.
And it sounds like, oh, Brad, you're able to just cut people off. No, I don't just cut people off. If someone is constantly just there and not positive, get out.
But this is probably one of my toxic traits. And it's probably not toxic, but it's...
You know what it is? Let me tell you what it is. It's not even that you're having a toxic trait. You got no boundaries.
I don't have No, I'm too much of a people pleaser and I'm too concerned. No, what I mean by toxic is that this is how my brain works, right? I remove myself from situations that make me uncomfortable because I don't want to have to deal with it. And then that is this circle.
But you will end up dealing with it.
Absolutely. And what I mean by that is that I'm not ignoring problems. It's that if something is not serving me or if it's something that's making things harder, I go away.
Yeah.
And I don't want to deal with it. Or
it's a coping mechanism.
It is a coping mechanism. And then I get myself overwhelmed because I'm like trying to do everything on my own. And then I get to this point where it all just gets to this bubbling over fucking shit show that you see regularly.
By the way, makes complete sense.
Yeah. So it's something I'm trying to get better at. I don't like confrontation, right?
You hate confrontation.
So like single parenting is probably the biggest thing that I need to figure out because I've been, for the last 5 years of being a single parent, I have literally done every fucking thing that someone else has not wanted me to do. Basically, I've been told and I just do it because I want to avoid confrontation.
Right.
And I've tried to deal with it.
You know what makes me... the one thing that's not... Okay, the one thing that makes me so frustrated about you is something that I actually... it's not because... I'll just say it because then I'll try to make it make sense. Is the amount of people that take advantage of you. Oh my God, my blood boils. It boils my blood because I won't let anyone walk over me. And when you tell me things and you're like, oh, but
and
I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm gonna lose it.
There's a few situations that I'm in right now that is probably where this whole flow on of the chaos comes from because those situations are pretty serious because it's big parts of my life.
Right.
Work, kids, big parts of my life where I will literally put not my needs aside, but I will avoid confronting those situations because it makes me incredibly uncomfortable, and I will just do what I need to do and get on with it, even though it's fucking destroying me.
Yeah. But then the problem is you don't deal with it here, but then you need to deal with it here. But then by the time you get to here, you're so overwhelmed about it that you can't even then have any backbone to even deal with it.
I don't have a backbone because I've tried to deal, like single parenting, I've tried to deal with this a few times, and every time it's always just I get shut down. I have tried, but I don't know if I give in too easily, but I'm like, I can't deal with arguing, and I remove myself from that and just accept that this is just what it is, and then I get on with life, and then I'm fucking stressed and all of this and overwhelmed, and it is my biggest flaw. I hate it. And even now I need to deal with something, and it's something that shouldn't be. It's like it's so obviously shouldn't be a problem. Like I literally want my kid's father to be a father, if that makes sense. I want him to want to be around his kids more. And it makes me sad that I have to feel like that. And I've felt like that for the last 5 years since we've separated.
It's out of your control.
It's out of my control. And that's where I get frustrated because it's like, it doesn't need to be this way. Like we don't co-parent. We don't even talk. And it's so messed up because we were together for 17 years and his level of respect for me is disgusting. Like it is a big issue, but it's also something that I want to deal with it, but then I get scared of dealing with it. It's that I know the outcome will always be the same because I'll just give in to whatever he wants, which shouldn't be the way now. So I do everything for the kid. Like I literally raise these kids on my own, and I feel more for them than I do for myself. Like it's a lot for me, but what the flow on for that with me is that they're not getting the best version of me because I'm running around like a fucking moron 24/7 trying to do everything that two people should be doing.
Right.
If that makes sense. So nobody has kids.
Single parenting is a lot.
Well, and this is where I look at it. Like, when I had children, I never imagined that I would be a single parent. You don't go into, I mean, obviously some people choose to be a single parent, which is fine. But like, you don't go into having children or into a marriage thinking that you're going to end up doing this alone.
Right.
Parenting itself is not a one-person job. And when you're trying to do that on your own, the mental load, the physical load, the financial load, all of that is so fucking overwhelming that other parts of your life crumble. So for me, the last 3 years, like I've put my needs aside because not that I've put my needs aside. Obviously, I want to do everything for the kids, but like me getting into a relationship or me taking time for myself hasn't been a priority because I need to make sure they're okay and taken care of. I've worked so much because I have to provide for them on my own, and then you get guilty because it's like I work all the time. I'm at my computer till midnight some nights and the kids are sitting here doing their own thing because I have to work because no one's going to pay those bills except me. And then I get frustrated and I get anger and I get all these things where I'm like, their dad lives 5 minutes away and he can't even come and see them. Like that fucks me off.
Yeah, it's sad.
But it makes me angry because it's like, if I don't see my kids, like I miss them. They drive me crazy sometimes, but I miss them.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine leaving my dog for longer than 2
That's what I mean. And the sad reality is that he doesn't think it's a problem. And that's what makes me angry. It is what it is. And that's where I've had to accept it. And I get help and I get support from other people to help with the kids. But at the end of the day, it all falls back on me. And that mental and physical load is so exhausting. Like sometimes at night, like when you saw me the other night, right? I'd had such a busy day at work. I had a wedding the day before. Like I was just tired. I was so fucking tired. Literally had to organize school uniforms, excursions, blah, 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 whatever. Harbour has photos yesterday. Like everything just happened. So then at nighttime when the dog's fucking running around like a crazy thing, I hadn't taken him for a walk. So I felt bad about that. I was trying to get their dinner. It was just chaos. And then it's like to have someone else here. I don't know what it's like to have someone else here and be like, oh, let me take care of the kids for you while you get dinner. Like I've got to get dinner, take care of the kids, find their fucking pajamas, like pack their lunchboxes.
I have to admit, anytime we've had conversations like this off of a podcast, and every time that we do have a conversation, I sometimes start the conversation with, come on, Karina, and I end the conversation with, it's a lot.
But this is the thing, like, I don't want to complain about it because there are so many people in my position, but I also hold back from complaining about it too, because it's like, I'm not complaining. It's just the reality of my life. And I will always say this, is that I've made these choices. Like, I chose to end my marriage. Do you know what I mean? Like, we both chose that. That's not my kid's fault. That's no one's fault. That was my choice.
Right.
But we both chose to have kids.
Right.
So why does that solely fall on me now?
Can you see the perspective though of when your kids get older?
Yeah, no, people say that to me when they get older and all of this, and that's fine. And I guess I'm at the point now where I'm like my kids, it's always just been us three, and
which is beautiful.
It's beautiful, and there's so many beautiful things of that. But do you know, there are some nights, I'm not even joking, and I don't want to get emotional about this, but like some nights I'll go after a day like you saw me the other day, where it was just so much, and like the pressure of me doing all of that on my own and having no one to kind of like just take a breath or be like, I've got this, or take 10 minutes to have a shower. Like, I was literally in the fucking shower that night and they wanted something from, I heard Mummy 75 times. Like, I just want to have a shower. Like, I go to bed sometimes and I just lay there and I take a big breath and then I feel guilt because I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. But I get sad because I'm like, I would love to just have someone to share that with. And I probably will never have that again, in the sense that, you know, their dad is their dad. And like, I hope that, you know, they will have that male role model. And that's where I feel bad too, because like they've got amazing male role models in their life, but it's hard when they don't have that on a day-to-day basis. So like,
then I walk in, I'm like, Slay Queen.
Yeah, but I love, no, but you laugh at that, and you are a male role model in their life. Like, it is scary.
Slay Queen.
It's scary, but it's true. Like,
just for context for people listening, your son says Slay Queen, and I just repeat it back.
It's funny, but it gets to a point where it just makes me sad, because it's like, you look at, so for example, I'm getting upset. This was not intentional. Do you want to keep going? Like, I went to a school concert a couple of weeks ago, and that shit makes me sad, because like, I look and there's families there, like mums and dads that are there with their kids, and then there's just me. Like, it's always just me. Oh my God, I'm actually getting sad. But like, that's the part of single parenting that people don't realize, is that kind of shit I've done on my own for like 5 years, and I don't know, you just feel very alone when it comes to that, and you try and be strong for the kids, but it's like, you miss that family thing. And I've got people in their lives that are more like dads to them, which is fine, but I just want them to have that, and I feel bad that they've missed out on that, I guess. And like, their dad's in their lives. I shouldn't say he's not, but it just makes me sad that I have to essentially fucking try and beg him to be in their life more, which is just sad for me, because I guess that's the part that I feel sad about, because people will say when they're older they'll get it, and you know, they'll be there for you, and I know they will, but I also want them to have a dad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want them to resent not having a dad growing up for their whole life. Like, and I guess the burden of just it all falling on me is just frustrating, because it's like, it's always been, well, this is my job and this is what you have to do. But it's like, I have a job too, and I have to support these kids on my own. So why do you just get to go and do what you need to do and I have to deal with it? Like, we have separate lives now. So I guess that's the hard thing in that.
And it's real. I think a lot of people experience this.
Yeah. So like, I know a lot of your chaos like the chaos you see with me is it's a lot. And I know, like, you know, people deal with this all the time, and I deal with it. And like, I'll have days like Sunday that just went, I was very emotional about everything and probably overreacted with some things. But the reason that happens is just that sometimes it just gets too much for me, and I wish I could deal with it better. But sometimes I just want to it just doesn't. That's exactly what it is. It does not stop for me. And like, my day
stops at the end of the night.
Yeah, but mine never does. Like, my kids will go to bed at 9 o'clock and go to sleep, and I'll finally I will usually go back to my computer because all the shit that I've had to do whilst they're still awake, I then have to catch up on stuff. Or I'll go and lay in bed and I'm so fucking tired that I just can't switch off. And then it's just this vicious cycle. And then I wake up tired and then I get frustrated because I don't have time to go to the gym. Like, it's just
And then there's
constant.
me going like this. Why don't you have Notion for your business? And you're like, Brad, fuck off.
I've just been on your website. I haven't seen that you've done this. Put it on. I'm like, fuck sakes, Brad.
Why isn't your frequently asked questions there? What is happening? Get on the Squarespace right now. Get it done. And you're like, Brad, shut up.
I know. Yes, I am. But it's hard to explain that to people. And like, I don't want people to feel sorry for me. That's not what this is about. But it's this is like real for me. Like, it's too much. And I guess being now in the place that I'm in, I'm in probably the healthiest relationship that I've ever been in my life. And that's saying a lot. And I know that it's only early days, but I haven't just met this person yesterday, but like I finally feel support for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Someone's got your back.
Someone's got my back because.
And your best interests at heart.
Yes. And like, in terms
because
of
you're surrounded by some pieces of shit that have nothing to do with your best interest.
Exactly. And they don't give a fuck. Like, and that makes me sad. But I guess I've not really had someone there for me. And as selfish as this might sound, like last night, for example, I could not switch off. I could switch off from being mum and being like all these things and just be me for a minute and feel like I could do that.
Yeah.
And not worry about every other thing that needed to be done because I finally feel like there's someone that can be there for me and make me feel like I can just be myself, which is such a big deal for me. So
what a beautiful thing.
It is. And I get so scared of losing that, and it terrifies me because it's like, this is just what I've wanted for so long, and meeting a human that's just such a kind, caring person that makes me feel so safe is the best feeling in the world. But yeah, it's a lot. And I think people judge and people don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And I keep a lot to myself. Like you probably caught most of it. I'm sorry. Along with a couple of my close friends. But I just think, I'm in a place at the moment where I'm very overwhelmed when it comes to work and that kids and that side of things.
Yeah.
Like I'm very happy in my relationship with my friendships and all of that, but I feel guilt because having time to see family and more friends and stuff is not something I just don't have the fucking time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think this gives a lot of context to maybe people even listening to the podcast having questions. It's like this is a good explanation.
I think it's a thing for like
it's not like you need to explain it. Oh my god.
No, not at all. But I think single parenting is such a big thing these days. Like if you look at, I guess when we were kids, and it was 20 years between us. So that's probably not a good way.
It's not 20 years.
It's
10
close.
years between us.
But like my point is that when I was at school, like I came from a separated family, but it wasn't that common or as common. Whereas now, honestly, like my kids are in classes where probably 50% of the parents are separated. Like it's such a common thing, but I don't think people realize, like there are so many healthy co-parenting situations that I know of that I think is so fucking amazing, because at the end of the day, what makes me sad is like their kids, the kids should be who has their best interests at heart. Do you know what I mean? And I have fought for my kids, and I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. But at the end of the day, everything that I've tried to do has been for the kids. And I get frustrated because like just not getting along is so unnecessary, and it shouldn't be happening, because at the end of the day, the people that it affects the most are our children, because I'm like this because I get so upset and so overwhelmed, and then they're not getting the best out of me, which makes me sad. And then the amount of times like being a parent and feeling like shit when you have to try and be strong around them, and they go to bed and then I try and hide in my room and cry so they don't see that. Like that breaks my fucking heart, because I don't want to be that person. But then sometimes it's just like, why can't things be fucking easier?
No, it's almost like like steam's building up in the
absolutely
cap needs to come
yeah
off.
And I think that's the thing, like just
Sometimes you need a good cry.
and I've said this to you before, like single parents as well, you took the kids for a hike the other day and I had 2 hours to get shit done. Like that's huge for people like us, because it's not something we get very often. And
But even on that hike, like one of them was like, oh, why doesn't mum come?
And do you know what? This is the thing that I had the other day, and I felt so guilty because it was like Harper said, oh, why can't you? Well, no, something like, could you do something with us in any way? And it was like I had to work. I had a wedding. And then I felt so bad because it's like it's just life. Like I literally have to work to pay the bills. And when I'm here, I'm running around doing stuff. So like we had a spare hour yesterday, but I had to buy Harper a new jumper and new school shoes and all of this. Like that's the shit people don't see. And then that stress, even to be honest, like that cost me $400. And like that's a big deal for me at the moment. And it's, yeah, there's just so many different things. And then I felt bad, but I'm like, if I don't work, how am I going to pay for that?
Yeah.
So it's this vicious cycle of like, I would love to just take an hour to go on a hike, but that day I generally just couldn't. I had to get shit done. And
this is like the real struggles of being a single parent.
yeah, it is. And look, at the end of the day, those kids are always going to be my little protectors and I would do anything for them. And sometimes like my youngest is so beautiful. Like he'll always come up to me. He's like, Mummy, I love you. And I love how you work hard for us and that. And I'm like, I don't want them to always have to think like that. But I don't know. They do get it. But at the same time, like I wish I was more present for them. And I guess I've definitely been being a bit happier in myself. But you also resent stuff too because it's like, you know, I don't get 5 minutes to myself very often. So when I do, just trying to be grateful for that time, I guess. But yeah, anyway, what the fuck?
We'll get a therapist on the podcast soon, ladies and gentlemen.
So what?
No, well, yeah.
Sorry.
That's fine.
That went down a very different track and I got fucking tears rolling down my eyes.
I think it's nice to hear, especially for anyone who is a single parent listening to this.
I think it's
they
just
probably relate to every single thing that you just said.
Yeah.
So.
I think if you are a single parent, it's just feeling like you're not alone because I do feel and like I said, I don't feel alone in the sense that I have a lot of support from friends and family, but at nighttime at the end of the day, like I end up here by myself with 2 kids and that is a very lonely place to be. Like it's very fulfilling, but it's also lonely. And I guess that's the part that people don't see. And everyone, like people say to me all the time, I don't know how you do it or this or that. Like I don't do it half the time. I don't have a fucking choice. Like people say, I don't know how you do it. What other choice do I have? Like this is my life and I have to figure it out. And I always figure it out. But sometimes you just don't want to figure it out. Sometimes I just want someone to pick up some fucking bread and milk for me on the way home and come home and be like, oh, I'll get dinner. Like that is my dream. But you know, it's hard. And yeah, I guess if you know anyone that is a single parent, just those little things like you doing that for me and taking the kids away for a couple of hours and me knowing that they were happy, like they had the best time. They came home and they wouldn't stop talking about it. And that's such a big deal. So that kind of stuff is very valuable, I guess, when it comes to that. But yeah, don't feel alone. And I guess just realize that there's a lot of people in these places, which is not a great thing. But also in saying that, you know,
you don't hear this often.
No.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you, let's say you are in that position, you hear this, you're like,
yeah,
okay, thank God I'm not the only one.
Well, and do you know what? Like I don't know a lot of single parents, but you know, I've ones that I've spoken to sometimes. Like I've posted a few things on social media before and they're like, oh my God, you know, you're doing great, I get it. And I'm like, I don't do that for sympathy. That's not why I post these things. But like sometimes I don't want to fucking put on a happy face all the time because it's hard. It's fucking hard. And raising kids is hard. And do you know what? As they're getting older, it's harder. Like it's only going to get harder. But I guess even just making decisions on your own is difficult. Because if you've got another parent there or even someone else, you can discuss it. And like I feel immense amount of pressure in making the right decision because I don't know what it is.
All of this, where I relate it to for myself, obviously I don't have kids, is like the stress that I feel living alone and then the stress that I don't feel living with a whole family at my house.
Yeah.
I think it's underrated.
Completely.
How much community really supports your emotional system and makes you not feel overwhelmed because there's people there.
Because there's people there. Yeah.
And they're directly there. But what a beautiful thing. I think what you just said is something that a lot of people would relate to. And I'm glad you shared it.
Fuck. I'm sorry.
What a loser.
Can you be mean to me for a sec? Go. Take the piss. I must
You know,
look like
do you want me
absolute
to tell you
trash
something? Do you want
right
me to tell you
now.
something serious?
Yeah, can you go?
There was like 2 or 3 times that I almost laughed. I can't do this.
Do you know what I will say? You did take that very well because normally that just came from nowhere.
It did cover her, and it because it was so real. I was like, I can't mock
It's
her
like
right
when
now.
I started crying the first time in there. Like, you got real uncomfortable, but you did take that. Look how much you've grown from episode 1. No,
Look how much you've gotten used to being around fucking people that are just losing it.
Oh my god!
Oh,
Wow, that
golly.
was draining.
I think that would be nice for like not maybe that could be a full pod.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you guys for listening.
And if anyone wants to know why I like wine so much,
We need to get a therapist on the pod. We will see you next week, guys. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
okay, bye. I'm sorry.
Did you release that?
Yeah.